Hi and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 dahlias. That's 10, just 5. If you're new to this channel, my name's Ellie and I am an urban cut flower and veggie grower here in Taupo, New Zealand. That's gardening zone 9B. I love sharing tips, flower inspiration and all things gardening. So if that sounds like you, I'd love you to follow along. So if you're watching from the other side of the world, basically anywhere other than New Zealand, it might be worth noting that we have really strict importation rules here. So a lot of the beautiful varieties that you can get, say, over in the States or Europe, we just can't get our hands on here. Let me know if any of the varieties I talk about today you can get a hold of where you are too. But I know they're definitely available here in New Zealand, which is great news for us. So as a small space grower, when I am looking for dahlias, number one is they have to be productive, because if it is just going to pump out a couple of blooms a season, unfortunately, I just can't sacrifice that amount of space for a flower that's not going to be productive. So all of the ones I mentioned today, very productive, and they will just crank out blooms as the season goes on. So I'm not going to mention productivity each time, just know it's there for all of the varieties. Okay, so let's get into it. Number one, I have Caitlin's Joy. She is a beautiful dahlia, and this one made it to my list, but just because of the colors within that flower head. It's one of those flowers that you see and you just think, this doesn't even look real. It doesn't look like something that nature can produce. And it really does look like this in person as well. So if you're looking for a flower that's a great size to work with in bouquets and just very unique, and because it's got those different kind of tones and colors within the same flower, it helps blend a lot of color palettes together, I found. So Caitlin's Joy is on the list. Next up, we have Coralie, and you'll be able to see why she's made the list. She is very neutral in terms of her colour, a blush pink with some yellows in there as well. Now, if you have grown flowers for a little while, you'll know that you have a nice yellow and you have a fluoro highlighter, not so lovely yellow. Don't worry, she doesn't sit into the highlighter yellow. It just has a beautiful kind of buttery, soft lemon center to it, and then fades into blush pink. A little bit larger flower head than the other ones that I'll talk about today, making it really great for single variety bunches. She looks really good just kind of en masse in a vase, but also the flower head isn't so dominating that you can't use it in bouquets. And again, just because it is the neutral color, very easy to work with. Now, everybody needs to grow just one boring, white, basic dahlia. It's gonna be your bread and butter when you've got nothing else to reach for in the garden, because you're gonna be able to use it everywhere. If you're doing wedding work or design work or bouquets, you'll be able to find a use for it. And my choice is white aster. I'll do a / Petra's wedding here because they're very similar. So if you can get your hands on white aster or Petra's wedding, they're both on par for me. Again, nothing super special, just the fact that they are productive and very easy to use, and you just got to grow at least 1 or 2 white dahlias. Daisy Duke is next. Now, if you are growing dahlias in containers, which the very first year I grew dahlias, I grew them all in plastic flexi tubs. I've got a couple next to me here actually. They are the biggest flexi tubs that you can buy. They're 40 litres, and I just filled them with compost, some dahlia fertiliser, and I grew them all in containers, and I had some of the best dahlias that year. So Daisy Duke is a great one for containers because it's a little bit shorter than other plants. Now, the trick with Daisy Duke is cutting it very deep. If you cut deep, as in above the first or second leaf node, it's going to push out longer stems. So the first stems that you might get from it might be a little too short to use in bouquets, but don't worry, just keep cutting it deep and it will push out longer stems. So if you are container gardening, Daisy Duke is great, but likewise, just for another reliable dahlia for the garden, Daisy Duke is good and great because it doesn't get too tall as well. So if you're in a high wind area, it could be one to look at as well. Beautiful colours, a little bit brighter than some of the Coralie and the whites, but I found it's nice to have a bit of contrast and have some that are a little bit more unique. So Daisy Duke, container growing, small space gardening, high wind areas, really great. Now, my number one favourite dahlia. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably know what this is going to be already, but it is Copper Boy, and it's so easy to find. You'll find all the big suppliers stocking it. It's not like a unicorn dahlia that's going to be really hard to get your hands on. It's not going to cost you $100 a tuber, but it is just incredible. So, disclaimer, I had the most shocking dahlia year the summer just gone. I was lazy and didn't kind of amend my soil, and the plants suffered for it basically, but Copper Boy was okay. It shone through over the rest by a mile. Beautiful, rich red flower heads. I do have a video on Instagram if you struggle with using reds in bouquets. I've got some tips over there, but if that's a video that you're interested in as well, I can do that, because I know reds can be a little bit scary to work with initially, so I do have some tips for that. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. But just the depth of colour, and it's just like velvety and gorgeous, and again another one that just looks great on mass. Just 10 of those in a bunch would look incredible. Copper Boy, you have to get your hands on one of these if you can, and it's also a really great tuber producer as well. So once you've got a couple in your garden, I found it produces a lot of tubers that you can then divide next season. Some dahlias, I should say, won't produce many tubers at the end of the season, meaning you'll be able to maybe get an extra plant out of them. But Copper Boy, I think I've divided it into maybe like 8 more tubers before, just from that initial plant. So really great if you are on a budget as well and trying to multiply your stock kind of over the next 2 seasons. I have a couple of runners up that didn't make those top 5, but they are Crazy Love and Wizard of Oz, very close to making it. Wizard of Oz is just a beautiful colour, again readily available in New Zealand, and Crazy Love just is a little bit unique. It's almost like a water lily dahlia. You'll see the kind of softer petals, and if you cut it just before it's fully open, it kind of holds that water lily shape as well. So it's a little bit of a special one. But it doesn't have kind of the greatest vase life compared to like your Caitlin's Joy, White Aster, Copper Boy. So that's why it didn't make the top 5, but very special. If you're coming to the end of your dahlia season, I do have a video on how to divide your tubers to multiply your stock that you can watch up here. Otherwise, if you are just getting into your kind of tuber hunting, I hope this video has helped you with some inspiration. I don't have a huge space here, so I have to be picky. Unfortunately, I can't grow it all, and these are the ones that I will swear by. If you do enjoy my content, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed, and if you have any ideas for videos you'd like me to make, any advice, please also let me know in the comments. See you next time.